The inspiration was based on a real person, Mr. Pat, from my hometown in Ohio, Sandusky, Ohio, where I grew up. And I would see this very flamboyant man walking around town when I was a kid, who looked different than everybody else. And I was always kind of fascinated because I felt a bit different, you know. And years later, I never really knew who he was, but then years later when I went to the gay bar, when I got up the nerve to go to the gay bar called the Universal Fruit and Nut Company, which is like the best gay bar name and the best actual gay bar in the history of the world, there was Pat, like, you know, in a pantsuit on the dance floor, and it just kind of all connected. I'm like, oh, that's a gay guy, or that was like a gay man I saw all those years when I was a kid,
right,
that had the audacity and courage. We're talking about in the 70s, you know, in a small town, conservative town, that had the courage to be himself, you know. So I always looked. He was always like a muse for me. I never really knew him very much, but because I moved away like not long after that. But I always remembered this guy that had the courage to be queer, you know, in a small town.
Did he cut hair or?
Oh yeah. He was he really kind of like, just like in the film, he was the hairdresser to the elite of Sandusky. You know, did all the rich women. They all loved him. They adored him. They all gave him, you know, their furniture and their even cars and things, I think, you know, when they were done with them. So he was always getting like hand-me-down, second-hand stuff, you know. But the weird thing is that he never, you know, he knew them very, very well because he styled them maybe for decades, and they would come in for their hair back in those days, like once a week, you know, come in. But he never, so he knew kind of every secret about their lives, but they never invited him to their house, you know, so they didn't include him socially, you know. So that's where, you know, Pat says, like, I always knew my place, you know. It was like clearly defined that he wasn't.
Is Sandusky a very conservative town?
You know, for Ohio, not so much. I mean, one cool thing about Sandusky is it's diverse. It's like 30% African American. Sandusky has always had a queer bar for like going back to the 70s and even before that. So for such a little town, it's kind of unusual that there was always a gay bar. So it's not as, like, when you go more into southern Ohio and toward Kentucky and West Virginia and stuff like that, it gets more and more conservative. I would say Sandusky is, like, for Ohio, is not so bad. But still, I mean, I would get called names, you know, growing up and stuff like that. So it was, you know, it wasn't liberal, put it that way. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, I have a question for both of y'all, and then a follow-up, I guess, for Todd. First one is just, when did you two first cross paths and first meet? And then for Todd, when writing Swan Song, when did Udo come into your mind for the role?
All right. I got the script. He sent me. I live in Palm Springs in a former library with a lot of books and artwork. And he sent me the script, and I was reading the script. I liked it, and I said, I cannot make a decision. If I play that, I have to meet you. Because and then he came to Palm Springs, and if I wouldn't have liked his personality, I would have not made the movie, that's for sure. But we got on very well and talked already about details, and then we even did a little, I've never done that for anybody, a little crowdfunding, me sitting and screaming at people, send the money! I want to do that movie! We need the money! Just send it tomorrow! So we got $100,000 came, and which was the beginning of the movie, and then we start talking over the phone a lot about details, and I told him that I would like to start the movie as chronological as possible. So we really did. He said, okay. We shot in the retirement home, and I was really living there first alone with no camera, to discover my room. I mean, I'm supposed to be there for years. I cannot be the star getting out of the trailer and go shoot. Where is it? Okay, I don't like the bed. Oh, the light is horrible. So it wasn't like that. I was living there a little bit, and I tried the mattress, and I looked where my cigarettes were. I could hide them. Anyway, and that's how we started. And the film is. I'm very, very, very happy with this film because I'm working as an actor 50 years with some of the best directors in the world, and it's the best critic I ever got for a movie is this one. From Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Udo Kier's best work, and I said, be careful, because the film is called Swan. I'm still working to divide it in a way. The best performance is Swan Song.
You don't want people to think you just announced your retirement.
No, I made already a film in last from 3 or 2 weeks ago, and another film, and I'm doing another film on Monday. So I'm still on the market. So but then doing the film, which is important, we knew, and I knew, and we talked a lot, that films, I believe, the most important things are the little things in a movie, or even silence. But if the silence is in the right moment and right shown by the camera, then you might cry. That is the whole film. It wasn't calculated at all. Now we do this. Even if I have to dance with a chandelier on my head. I like the song, I'm in the corner watching you kiss him, no. So the whole film was, from the beginning, an amazing crew, amazing music, and the whole film was like that. There wasn't any calculation. The good thing was, there was one street, Sandusky, one street, and that was our street. I went there to the second-hand store, I went to the bar, I gave to the waiter, I had no money, I gave him and said, the rest is for you. And so we were living there. I knew the theater, we did the makeup in the theater gave it to him, because they all know him there, of course. And so it was one street, with a very good restaurant at the end. When you wanted to see the water, you went there to have some pasta, and so the boat's going by. So
Beautiful sandwich.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
everything was there, and
Just talking about the like for film people, or like people getting going in film. I'm also a film professor, so
cool.
at SVA. But
and I'm a professor teaching acting.
School of Visual Arts in New York City.
Cool.
Yeah. You know, I think that the key to it is writing interesting parts that really great actors are going to want to play. You know, that's huge. Like, it all starts with the script. You know, the problem with Swan Song was that, you know, a lot of times, you know, the Hollywood system wants movies about, with sex and violence, or young, whatever. I mean, he's young and beautiful, but you know what I mean.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Talking about old people?
No. You know, I'm trying to. But I mean, it was it was a really obscure character. You know, this like sort of old gay hairdresser. You know, who's like escaping from his nursing home, and it was a bit of a tough sell in terms of raising money. You know what I mean? So, but it was a really great part for a great actor to play. So we got the script to Udo, and he really fell in love with it, and we met, and we really connected right away.
Had y'all met in the past?
No.
Was this a connection and the cold email?
What's that?
Was this just like a cold email?
My casting director had met Udo in Berlin. And she was like, "What about Udo Kier?" And I was like, "Who?" No, I said.
But still have some coffee.
but I was like, holy shit, whoa. And I loved Andy Warhol's Dracula and Frankenstein and My Own Private Idaho and the Madonna sex book. I have a copy of the Madonna sex book and the video and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's like I was like, whoa,
I like the story and I liked him. I have up till today never seen any of his films that he put forward.
Okay.
I haven't.
No, but I want to finish saying something.
May I finish
yes,
excuse me?
yes.
You had too much coffee.
Really?
Too much espresso, you talk.
Well, okay.
So on purpose, I didn't want to see the movies. Because for me it was important, that movie. And to create something new, or I would see his old movies, I mean not old, the movies before, and I would have said, maybe it's not for me. But I wanted to have a new start to do this, which we did, and we created so many little moments which people. Important is that he was able to make a film where people laugh and cry.
Yeah.
That is the most difficult thing, to make a movie where people. I gave it to a few friends, and they all told me the same thing. We cried. You made us cry. I said, no, you made yourself cry because you followed the story. And that is important about talking about that movie. And he created the movie, he created the script, and that is important. And as a professor, for you, I just want to say, talent is something you cannot learn. No school can teach you.
I can see some of the working relationship here.
Yeah. No, but I did want to just say, just real quick, it's like, my point of it was like, it was hard to get millions and millions of dollars to make this movie, which would have been nice. But it's like, I didn't give up, and we didn't give up. And Udo was kind enough to help us do like this Kickstarter video that really, that we shot in his house. And that's so hard to do that. It's like kind of like you said, it's like, hey, Aunt Judy, please give me money, it's like you're basically like begging, like everybody that like for money, which is hard to do.
And it's nice to say it in front of an Andy Warhol poster where it says, for Udo with love.
Exactly.
So that was already a good beginning.
Yes.
Send the money.
Yeah, send the money. But I didn't give up, and so I wound up making it for a much lower budget, than originally planned. But in a way that weeds people out, because it's like the people that wind up being a part of it, they're not doing it for the money, they're doing it because they love it, And that creates like a special energy. That's kind of the magic of independent film, is that we're all there because we love it,
I'm curious about something with the script. As you're dealing with an older character, road trip and reconnecting with other people, is it an accidental thing that older character passes on wisdom to younger characters, or
no? I really wanted to have like a intergenerational conversation going, because like one thing I think about just people in general is that younger people don't always listen to the wisdom of their elders, and in the gay community that's even more extreme, and part of it is that a lot of the elders are dead. They got wiped out from AIDS. So there's not a lot of opportunities for that dialogue. But I find that people, I teach college students, and they don't have any idea what the AIDS crisis was. And, even young gay kids. So I feel like we need to know our history.
Well, and I think that makes your character even more interesting. An older gay man coming through that crisis to millennials who don't fully understand that or rely so much on technology. And there's so much more that you can learn from that character about the struggle and how you've gotten to this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that was just one of the big things that I noticed as I was watching the film.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the small town gay bars are kind of becoming extinct. Because younger gay people don't need the safe space in the way people from my generation maybe.
Right.
Because you can be more who you are. in public. And I think that for me, it's like, we tease about the word like husband,
Yeah.
Tim and I.
Partner.
But it's like, for me, even that word at first, like, is kind of weird,
Right.
It's like, because I don't want to be like normal, I don't want to be like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, but it's like, wow, it's just like, was almost like, how do I explain this? It's like, I kind of, what's that? Hetero, yeah.
What?
But, what? No, but it's like, it was an adjustment, because I'm sort of used to being different. You know what I'm saying?
Forging our own path.
Yeah, and forging, because we had to, So so that scene where the two guys are like watching the younger gay dads, like playing catch, teaching their son catch, it's almost like this bittersweet thing that like I could relate to too, but it's like, on one hand, wow, it's so amazing that this is possible, and that people can be married and have kids and stuff. On the other hand, I always thought for the characters that there was it was bittersweet, because they're never going to have that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's never going to be their life, because it's too late. So it's like this bittersweet kind of thing. It's almost like I definitely didn't want being gay to be any kind of conflict in the movie, but it's almost like, for me, to the Pat character, it's almost like gay has become so accepted that's almost like a conflict to the character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's not.
Because you feel like they don't really understand what the struggle was.
That, and then maybe some sort of jealousy that he could never have that. It's too late for him.
Right.
Never today.
Not for you.
What character? No, the thing is what he's saying is, it was not only in his town, it was all around the world. There were in Germany, there were in France, there were gay bars, and you had a list to see where they are. You went to Italy, Torino, and you looked up gay bars, Torino. Look at 5 stars. I have to go there. Oh, Friday night is the best night. Okay, I go there. So, and this is all gone, because now gay people can go wherever they want. He said before in an interview, they can even today hold hands at McDonald's. It's like, but that was 50 years ago impossible. That is the thing. But the new generation, they don't want to learn anything from Mr. Pat. What can they learn? Somebody goes with a green suit and a hat and dances on the street. They can dance wherever they want to dance. They have the freedom to go holding hands in a restaurant. Nobody will say, and then they're like him. They say, my husband and I. But that is the difference. And the film, I think, shows to an audience how somebody from another generation, I'm 76, from another generation, who grew up in the whole world. I lived in Italy, I lived in Paris, I lived in London, years and years everywhere. So to go to this retirement home, which is the end, and then feels to go maybe back and $25,000. That's great. So he goes back and says ridiculous things to the grocery store. He says, you must be wondering, well, how can I, with a social security check, pay my cigarettes?
That's actually my favorite part of the film.
Really?
Just a guy. I took the words right out of my mouth.
It's one of my favorite scenes because it is so ridiculous. And then the older women watching him, and he's standing there. So that is.
And part of what I was trying to say with that scene was like, I feel like Pat, because, he's been in a nursing home for many years, and I think in a way he's like trying to kind of provoke that guy and get like a little bit of a reaction, you know what I mean?
Or maybe a free packet of cigarettes.
But the guy doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He just doesn't, he's not like, who the fuck are you, or whatever, like, he just doesn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? So like in a way we would expect that redneck guy
Sure.
to be like, what the you know, like to be homophobic or something like that. But I wanted to make the point that he just doesn't care. So it's like we're beyond that.
You know, another scene that was kind of, that I thought was interesting too was the church lady in the truck. You know, you kind of expect, I was expecting that to be a very judgmental moment.
Right.
And she was so sweet, and to me was like, that's how you're supposed to practice Christianity. It's not about judgment, it's about walking in love.
Exactly.
And that was the only moment in the movie where she and me, we did not know we were taped.
Yeah.
We were so much in it, because I just met her and I wanted to know about her, and I wanted to talk to her about my friend and why so, and then all of a sudden I realized it was all filmed.
Yeah.
I thought it was a rehearsal, and just to see the camera has to be there, the car has to go from that side, but it was wonderful when she drops me off at the funeral, at the cemetery. No, all the people he chose, the woman in the second-hand store, the man, everybody was amazing. And for that, what you wanted, I can say talented. They were all, and my favorite one, of course, is Linda Evans, because she was with me. We met, and then the next day we were shooting, and she wanted to rehearse, and we rehearsed, and then and then when we did the scene, I understood why, because there was no acting anymore. It was,
the lines were just
they were
Yeah.
real. So why didn't you come to the funeral? Why? It was really, look, my hairs are standing up. Look, it was real. And that was to choose this, and all the people, Jennifer, everybody, was doing a good job and not for the money. You see, that's what I like when I made films with Lars von Trier, where everybody got the same money, and you know who they were? Lauren Bacall, Ben Gazzara, James Caan, Nicole Kidman, Stellan Skarsgård, Udo Kier, and we all got the same room, same car. Nobody was, even Nicole Kidman came with her own airplane from Tom Cruise many years ago, but down inside, actors, we want to make a good movie. You know, that is the difference. The difference, of course I like money. Of course, I like money because I want to buy a new Bentley 95. I have one. But that is the story. Deep inside, even people like Ben Gazzara and Lauren Bacall, I mean, we all work for the same little money. Nobody got, and that's what in his movie also. I didn't make his film for money, you know.
Yeah.
I think you've hit on a couple of things here, but I want to follow up with what you're just kind of saying.
Yeah.
And then like a broad question.
Yes,
What makes a good director to work with for you?
a good director makes listen to the actors. which is true. I mean,
Yeah.
and
I agree with that. I do.
And I, for example, you know, there are actors that come in the morning to the set and they say to the director, we haven't started shooting yet. And they say to the director, I have an idea. I should actually come from there. And the director said, what? And I never do that. A good actor never let the director decide what to do, and then you come, when the moment comes, you come with an idea. But not already in the morning when the director doesn't know himself how it goes. And that is the difference. The difference is, you know, you have First of all, the difference is the director has to love the actor who he is working with. That is number one.
Yeah.
And accept the good things and the bad things. Okay, that is number one, how it goes, and then you create it together. We created this movie together because I was the leading man from the beginning till the end. So we had to do this together every day. And he had new ideas, and
he did, and he had ideas. You know, it was like a conversation. You know, but to me, like as a director, like I feel like I want to get what's inside of him out, like his ideas, and draw him out instead of me imposing everything like onto him. You know, like I try to like get it from organically, like from the actor, even in terms of like the blocking. And you know, some directors like know exactly, like you're gonna start over here and then walk over here on this line or whatever. I really like to figure out that with the actor, like to draw it out from them. You know
and
what I
we
mean?
did not rehearse.
No, which was honestly weird for me because like every other movie that I've done, we rehearse for about a week. It's always very hard to do because of everybody's schedule and stuff like that. But most times actors really want to do it, not this dude.
No.
You know, like
How do you call me, dude?
he that's not his style, you know. It's just not
Because
it's
it
not his
becomes-
style.
If you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, it becomes mechanical. Then you know exactly, oh, when I'm there, I have to take the coffee. Or if I'm there, no, but I want to do it on my own feelings, that when I look at your eyes and I take my coffee and look at you. that is the difference. You know, when you rehearse, it becomes mechanical, automatic. And then the cameraman says, it's better you stop there, the light comes from, so it becomes so many elements, but you miss the truth. I don't care, I like Chinese philosophy, who stands in the shadow has the light. You know, it is sometimes, just another little, my God, I talk so much because of all the coffee. I made a film, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, with Borowczyk, he's dead, a famous Polish director. And there were I was Dr. Jekyll, so there was Mr. Hyde. So there were actors from France, we shot it in Paris, and there was one lamp in the corridor, and these actors were fighting all about that light. They were talking to each other, looking to the light. And I saw that, and I said to the director, can I be in the shadow totally? He said, what do you mean? I said, I want to be just a profile and not talk. And he said, okay. And I did it, and you don't look at them, you look at the shadow talking. It is,
But the way that director was open to listening to that idea from the actor, you know, I like what he said actually, is that what makes a good director is a director that listens to the actors. I really actually think that's a great answer,
Yeah,
even for me. What's that?
Yeah, I'll put that quote down.
Yeah, I love that. Like that's something I would teach. I try to teach my students. You know?
Yeah.
Don't impose everything on them. You know, it's a conversation between the two of you, but you want to draw out all of their ideas and their instincts
Exactly.
because they actually know the fucking character better than you do ultimately.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I mean?
And
Ultimately.
it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to accept it.
Right, that's right,
As a
right,
director,
yeah, right.
when the actor has an idea, you can also say, yeah, that's okay. I see you for lunch. And, you know, it's like...
But I want to be open to, because it's like, for example, the whole way that Swan song starts with in the theater, and he comes out and says, "Hey, I'm back," or whatever. You know, that was all Udo's idea. That wasn't in the script.
not true.
It is true. It is
Can you
true.
say it again?
I want to ask about music, especially the score. So it's a two-part question. How do you go about choosing music, especially for a film like this? And for you, how do you go about figuring out the score?
Choosing music, I always, when I'm writing a script, I have like a playlist, and a lot of the songs in this were actual songs that the real Mr. Pat loved. You know.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah. The only time I ever saw him do drag, it was to This Is My Life by Shirley Bassey, which is in the movie when he's driving on the jazzy scooter. And so, yeah, I'm very music inspired. You know,
I think that's great that we're kind of getting his personal soundtrack in this.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah. So,
I'll be right back.
okay, cool. Then, and we got lucky enough to get like the rights to every single thing that we wanted, which was a miracle. Yeah. Chris and I have, Chris, my younger brother. Oh my God! Hi. Chris is my younger brother, and we've had like a musical conversation going on since he was a little boy. I introduced him to you. Can talk about.
Yeah, he took me to my first concert in 1989, which was Eurythmics in Detroit.
Nice.
Pretty good first concert. But yeah, for the movie, I think for me there was a lot of it was built in for me. Like I did the set photography on the movie, and so the whole film I'm next to camera, watching every take with Udo. You know, taking that all in the whole time, and the movie set where I live. So there's a feeling already, you know, like I've known the script since its inception and all the way through the filming, and so there's always kind of been like a built-in, and it's shot in my town. There's that Udo and Todd were living at my house, you know, during the film. A lot of the scenes were literally right outside my house. Some of the scenes were inside my house.
the whole funeral. Was shot.
And the music was all made upstairs in the same house that a lot of the big scenes were done. So it's when it came to doing the music, it's like I had already kind of, and I didn't know until 4 or 5 months until the completion of the film that I was going to be doing it. But it's like I already kind of had like a feeling, and it's an extremely personal movie to me. It's like not fiction, you know. It's like I live there. It's my life, and I feel like I relate to Pat in a way where it's like I felt like this person living in Sandusky, kind of not maximizing who they are, maybe just, you know, kind of living softly, and you know, and so like there already was a feeling for me just when he offered it to me of just like I just already kind of had this whole feeling of what it should feel like and sound like, and you know, and I start to think of the instruments, and I want to play everything myself. I don't want to use software instruments. It has to be real, and it has to be, you know, a guitar and old analog synths and this feeling imperfect, you know. So when we started, it's like I just kind of went off and I just kind of made what I thought the movie sounded like, you know. And I made a batch of maybe 30 minutes of music, and I sent it to Todd, and then it just sort of started a conversation, you know, and he would listen to it and kind of feel like, oh, like I really love this melody, and I really like this tone. Like I don't know what instrument you're using, but I really like that could be an instrument maybe we could use throughout, you know. And I didn't really play piano. I just played synths, and so I kind of knew scales and whatnot, but I'm not really a piano player. And Todd had the idea. He wanted a lot of piano for, you know, the melodies. You know, I've made a lot of just kind of experimental music, and you know, it's like this was very different from what I've done. And so it was really scary, you know, thinking, oh my God, like he wants me to play piano, I have to write proper melodies, like how the heck am I going to do this, you know? But like more we started talking, it was like his ideas and my ideas, it's like it all started to kind of blend and churn together until it became its own thing, you know? But it started kind of for me with just that this movie is so personal, it's so real, it's not, I still cry, like during these interviews, I'm like tearing up just thinking about some of these scenes and how it felt to be there and how it felt to make the music. And so I guess, yeah, I don't know, I guess that's where it started. It was just kind of coming up with what I felt like the movie felt like. And then it became a conversation with Todd, and then it was like, you know, there were maybe 8 or 9, 10 melodies I came up with, and we would kind of work together. He would sometimes think like, I think I hear this as being a styling music, this melody. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I could hear that. And so then like he would steer me, you know, and into a direction. And then we'd work together. I'd go off my little makeshift studio and make some stuff and send it back. And yeah, it just became like a very collaborative effort, you know, feeling, but very personal.
And
very
now
personal.
you know that your house can be turned into a funeral home.
That's true.
Well, that's the other thing,
Can
yeah.
we get one more question?
Okay.
Come on.
Do you want to ask one more question? I have a question for you guys that's just for our outlet, but
No, you're good.
okay. So because we're a nerd news outlet and we, cater not only to independent film, but sci-fi, comic books,
Yeah.
video games and stuff like that, something we just ask all of our filmmakers, and I'd like to hear answers from all of you. So here it is. If you could have a weapon of choice or a superpower from within the nerd universe to fight the forces of evil, what would you choose? And I'll start with you, Todd.
Oh, shit.
I know, this is the question you're not prepared for.
And I didn't understand it.
If you could have a superpower to fight the forces of evil, what would you choose?
Fight the forces of evil. Somehow a love weapon of some sort to just shoot love everywhere. I don't know what that means.
Green Lantern's ring, but it shoots love.
Oh yeah, it shoots love. Yeah,
That would be a
waves of
good
love.
one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not a big superhero guy, so I don't know. But yeah.
Well,
what would your weapon be?
I would talk to evil and have a gun in front of me and I would clean my fingernails and I would say, when I'm done, I'm going to kill you. And then I take the gun and shoot. And get up and leave.
And now you have your next movie with him.
Because, no, seriously, because that's why I like Christoph Waltz
Yeah.
as an actor. We made Downsizing together because we're very similar. We are evil, but we have fun being evil. And that is the secret. Anybody can, I'll kill you. No, you have to do it with pleasure. And you say, it's like I did in Cell Block 99. And I said, I'm sorry, my boss is so...
I feel like you just described every perfect Bond villain, or what they should be.
Well, I always feel like he should be a Bond villain.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh yeah.
Yes, when I'm 80 years old.
Yeah.
In my Bentley.
I don't think I can do anything better than that, but I would say something like my words. Like maybe if when I talk to people, I could magically instill them with truth and information, and that the 35 to 38% of the country and the world that is very difficult to deal with would suddenly, from my words, just be magically informed. That's what I would say.
Who basically are living with conspiracy
And
theories
both-
that think the X-Files are real.
And both of you,
Truth
you have
weapon.
met the lady, right? Okay.
Great
I
answer.
don't
Tim,
like
what's your
that-
superpower?
I don't like that my colleagues just sit here.
Yeah, my superpower is to be able to make someone a mathematician. Because math can be used to both describe very complex things and make them very beautiful, and can also take complex things and simplify it.